Hi, and welcome to another edition of Dogrunner Branding Random Show Fusiontalk. I'm here to chat to you about another book called Tools for the Titans, and I think this is very timely as well as very appropriate for commerce culture and the career. Very much useful in terms of advice using tools as gathered by Tim Ferriss. He gathered this by talking to some of the influencers and people who succeeded in their career and business, and giving broad range of advice. And I listened to some of his podcasts, but read the book, and I think it's very appropriate. So a lot of this talks about health, wealth and wisdom, which is covers the area that I always want to talk about, which is career, commerce, and culture. And this book represents some knowledge that can be applied to everything, even in this crisis of COVID-19 and depression and unemployment. So the first tip that I remember is showering in cold water. That's kind of weird, but he mentioned one of my favorite comedians, Seth Godin, and his partner, I forgot his name, Goldberg, something like that. And they are very creative comedian, stand-up comedian, and a lot of this advice also talks about some extreme measures, like in raising athletic, business, social media influencers, uh, and some of this that he covered, really, if you look at it, it's a great advice. But again, as any advice, you know, it's your willpower that helps. But I still believe in the Bible, which is the best self-help book, and it has a power. But this self-help books that I talk about doesn't have the power unless you really somebody will push you. And one of the things he talked about was this 90-mile course that one of the athletes was talking about. There's a 300 obstacle course, and the athlete, a female, I forgot her name, but she has all these strenuous activities which helps her build, not just become a great athlete, but as well as become a great entrepreneur. So one of his tip is drinking protein health drink, and then we try to practice that. We do fruit shakes, and instead of eating fruits, we turn it into milkshake or something. So I think I remember now, Amelia is her name, and he does golf. She And in order to be the best golfer, he trains his posture and strength. And the other athlete that was talked about, not as famous here in the States, but they have successful in their arena. This guy who have 20 world records. He climbed the Mount Everest in 2007, and in order for him to prepare for this feat, which is only few people can do, um, he sits on an ice bath. So really train him the most uncomfortable thing to do. He exposed himself to cold water, things that really irritates or annoys us. So basically the knowledge is, in order to improve is you have to get used to all these challenges, like what Tony Robbins, by the way, is the first self-help book I read when I was in boot camp in the Navy. And he talks about weight loss and depression. So these are all endorsed by the book, Tools for the Titans. So pretty much a lot of them are athletic athletes who lived a healthy life and successful businesses. So doing extreme activities is the best place to start. It may not be for you, but there are other tools. And that's a good thing about the book, because you can skip and read other books that you think will be appropriate. he talks about how other people tend to gravitate toward simple answers for health questions. So they just do, whatever they read on the internet. They say high cholesterol is bad, low cholesterol is good, but not necessarily. You know, one of the physicians that he interviewed, also a personal health coach, says that the I think he's the founder of CrossFit, and he's been working and out and doing research, and high cholesterol actually helps build muscles, which help build strength and the healthy heart. Let me check the name. I forgot his name, but anyway, I thought I could find it here. But anyway, low cholesterol diet is beneficial, but if you really want more strength and body mass, high cholesterol is good. So that's good for me because I eat a lot of cholesterol. So James Feldman, I believe, is his name. So try things, and he talks most about how to slim and have a weekly microdoses of some substances, which I don't really agree in this book advice. So that's another caveat, is don't believe everything that you read. As an 8-year researcher, I always have to counter research or cross research everything I read. So most people believe that hard work will bring success, but there's also nothing like hard job that make you want to be successful. Like Chris Sacca, he mentioned, who works in he's in San Francisco, Silicon Valley. During part-time, he worked as I think his brother was a lobbyist in Washington, Congress, so they're powerful people. But during the second half of his time as working there, he worked on a septic tank, those poop and stuff, dirty work. So he had this comparison, and this was brought up by Seth Godin, my favorite author also, about positive thing that happens. And this working on a septic tank, what is the positive thing you can see in that working there? It's dirty, it smells bad, it's the worst job you can have, but he saw something positive of that and turned it around, and so he became successful. Another successful guy was Dilbert, the creator of Dilbert. Scott Adams is his name, and some of you read them every day in newspaper and book. And he started as a cartoonist, but he became a really best-selling author because what he did was he's very passionate with photography, and he had a chance to take photos and do things outside his comfort zone. So he wrote blogs. He's not a writer, but eventually, because of focus on short-term goals like creating and marketing your product, those goals can be if you've been doing mundane tasks like drawing, sketching, cartoons, and suddenly you start writing and do photography, that actually expands his horizon. Now he's a very successful author, other than being a successful cartoonist or those jokes about. I think he's also a human resources guy like me, so I could relate some of his jokes. Another tip so Tools of Titans have different, I would say, author that he interviewed or tips that he gave. Is about I think it's about, what was the other one? Well, anyway, so this, I remember now, how this guy won a competition, earned at $50,000. I think his name is White, and the founder of X Prize, and he has this foundation and innovative solution to many, and now he's grows to 10 million or something. And he took a risk organizing massive fundraising event, and his gamble was to reassure donations began pouring in. He's got a sense to bring in some money, but the good involved without wisdom. So if you think wisdom is all about spending hours meditating, being perfectly respectful, take Seth Godin's tip. Despite the underpinnings of all this sexuality and joke, their work is subject, to success. they have, they're not brainy, but they become successful because of hard work. So I think the author is very fond of Seth Godin because he talked a lot about him, and he talks about the basic ways and how he was able to use his creativity. And another guy who was interviewed in this book was his mentor, Judd Apatow. I think he's a filmmaker who produced The West Wing or something like that. Anyway, he, in order to release all these creative juices, um, they it's like living your life and embracing fear. That's how your creativity comes out. And in other words, in order to be creative, you need to have a life. Like comedian Cummings, the producer of Broke Girl, something like that. Um, she make fun of herself, and she's a workaholic, but she enjoys imitating, like bringing jokes, and he ended up bringing up a whole new joke in a different level. So she teaches the idea that people have brave heroes, and for her, it takes courage to really confront their fears. So confront your fear. If you're scared of cold weather, go out there, expose yourself. If you're scared of talking, go talk in front of people. Join Toastmasters like I did. So each task that you grow is actually going out of your comfort zone. Pretty much the basic tips in that book. So get advice and inspiration from people around you. Don't be afraid of bad ideas. If you want to make a dream a reality, just take out all the bad ideas, and when you read back and when you do a journal, do a 4-hour work week, and just focus on the rest of the 4 hour to improve yourself. Like what I do, I listen to a lot of audiobooks, and you don't have to believe all of them all the time. Try to really counter research, because not all self-help book are true, because research, it changes, our society changes. So I think I have talked enough. This is about 12 minutes, and I want to limit, and I know a book cannot be read or summarized, in less than 12 minutes, but I hope you got the idea. Tools for Titans. Check out the rest of the books that I've summarized on tonyastro.com, also on my LinkedIn, and of course on my Facebook, Tony Astro. Just Google it. And by the way, this wouldn't be possible. I wouldn't be able to buy a nice phone, a camera, if you don't support my business, Emboss Creation. We do creative designs and products, and we sell printed materials and embroidered hat like this one, and labeled logo, branded gadgets and things, accessories. We're located at the town center. Just Google Emboss, MVOSS Creation. Or for consulting, just Google my name, commercewise.us, and I'll see you then. Until next time, have a great run.